Hello and welcome to the Ledger Lounge, an accounting and business advisory podcast brought to you by James Scott at Manchester. My name's Matthew Taylor.
And I'm Katie Allen. Welcome to the Ledger Lounge.
Today we're diving into a topic that's super relevant for small business owners, freelancers and side hustlers working with an accountant. What to expect and how to make the most of that relationship.
And that's why we've got you in with us today, Matt.
I have an accountant.
Me.
Yeah.
Yes, welcome, Matt.
Thanks
She's
for
very
having me
nice.
back.
She's lovely.
Yeah. Well, like that, don't put words in my mouth, Katie. To wait until that comes around. I'll put you on edge now.
Yeah, that's not what you were saying. You were saying about you earlier. Whether you're just starting out or you've been trading for a while, knowing when and how to bring an accountant on board can make a huge difference. Not just in staying compliant, but in growing your business strategically.
So when do you need an accountant? It's probably a question that when you've just set your business up, you probably don't really think straight away.
When do people, in your experience, think that they need an accountant? At what point in your experience?
Usually when they know that it depends on what type of company it is, but if you've started off and just set up a limited company and then all of a sudden you go, oh, I've got annual accounts to do. I think the word probably scares people. Oh, how do I do them? Is probably when they tend to come to us. Oh, well, I've set up my business 9 months ago. I know that I've got accounts due in 3 months.
I know what the right answer is to that.
Yeah.
It's right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Setting the business up. But I really do think it depends on the personality you're dealing with. I think we've had clients who have set businesses up, even if it was a side hustle. They've come to us and say, what do I need to do? And you can get them registered and you can deal with that setup and get things right from the beginning. Then there are other people who wait for the letter from the Inland Revenue, say, you've been trading on eBay for so long, we've got the records, we know how much you've earned.
Yeah.
You need to do something about it.
Yeah.
By then it's probably too late because you're probably going to get a penalty.
Yeah.
So it really depends.
And it depends, I guess, on your own, I want to use the word competence, but also your own experiences, your own skill sets. You might be able to, depending on how big your business is or small, you might be able to do a lot of it yourself because you have experience or whatever. You might be able to manage that, I guess, if it's quite basic in terms of what you do. But I think because of some of the stuff we've talked about with, the last episode you were talking about VAT, and then, you got your Make Tax Digital, and then you've got all these other things. And if you've got a lot going on, you've got a business that's starting to pick up and turn over a lot more money and things like that, then I think it starts to get a lot scarier and you start to need so I guess there's a point where you can do your own bookkeeping and you can do things yourself. Would you say that's fair?
There is. But I also think, just going back to what you've said then, where things can become scarier because you've got more things to consider, is when we notice a trend with that, where people think, oh my God, there's so much to do and I don't even know where to start. And they still leave it till the very last minute to get an accountant. And then we're then trying to unpick what's gone on over 12 months. They've been busy or they don't know what went on 12 months ago. You made a
little involuntary noise when I said that. Do you think that if you're running a business or self-employed, no matter what, you'd be better off with an accountant?
I think so, but I am an accountant as well. So.
And I also think don't be scared to get an accountant. Don't be scared to make that decision and go and have an appointment with an accountant and see whether you might be a small business that generates one invoice a month or whatever, and you might be able to control that yourself. But just go and speak to somebody that's knowledgeable in that area, where you might think, oh, I didn't actually know I could do that. Because a lot of the time, like we said, some people do come to us quite late on in their first year of trade, or sometimes we've had people that come to us that haven't done anything for 3 years.
Yes.
And they've come and they've gone, I don't know what to do. Got all these letters.
Yeah.
So I think don't be scared. Don't be scared to get an accountant.
Inherently, we're all a little bit scared of making decisions, and we'll put something off, and biting the bullet at the beginning. You don't have to be VAT registered. You don't have to have employees. You don't have to be running a limited company. There is still advice that you can get from an accountant.
Yeah.
I think whatever it is that you set out to do, you probably do it with the aim of it being successful.
Yeah.
So if you're starting off a business or you're starting off self-employed or whatever, your aim is for it to be successful and probably to generate a lot of money or enough money, or you might have a target figure, or like you say, you might want it to only get to a certain point and then that's enough for you for whatever reason. Some of the reasons that you just mentioned, you don't want to bring in employers, etc. But like, if you go into it with the mindset that it's going to be a success, then one of the things you're going to need is an accountant. Because with success becomes more money, more responsibilities, more ways of making savings and knowing what to pay, what not to pay, etc., etc. So I think it's a success mindset. If you go into it with a mindset of this is going to be successful, therefore I'm going to need an accountant, therefore let's get one on board early.
Yeah, you're right. But being honest, you've set the business up because you know what you're doing in that business. And actually, you're going to be more of a success by focusing your efforts on that business from the word go. Spending your time developing the business, advertising, whatever it might be, developing customer base, whatever it might be. Leave the accounting side to somebody who can take that stress, that burden away from you, so you've got more time. You're effectively outsourcing that element of the role
of your business,
of a small business.
Outsource it to somebody who gets excited about Jaffa cakes, in court, VAT, things, that kind of thing.
And if you wonder what we're talking about, you need to listen to the previous episode.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's not. It's numbers aren't for everyone, and I can never remember his name. He's the author of some books. He wrote one called Sapiens, and it's about the evolution of the human, Homo sapien. But he talks about the concept of numbers, and it's not something. Although mathematics is like intrinsic in everything, like it's kind of like the structure of everything is based around maths, isn't it? And but as our human brain isn't really designed to understand numbers, because if you take us out of the world that we live in today and take us back to like the plains and like hunter gatherers, and numbers weren't a concept. Like, we never needed numbers. It's so numbers to us is a relatively new concept, and that's why some people are blessed and that they grasp it, and then for others it's just like they might as well just like they're like patterns on a thing, and some people just can't get to grips with it. And it's not that you're stupid or whatever. It's just that it is a bit of a foreign language to a lot of people, numbers. And I think because of that, with money being obviously and finance being all about, and accounts all being about numbers, it's one of those things that scares us because it's not something that's natural to us. So if you can outsource that to the people who like numbers and understand them and like working with them, it's just a massive burden off your shoulders. Yeah. And it's not unusual.
It's advisory as well. Like, you feel good when you've been able to help a client with any issues that they've come across there and then, not a client that's 12 months behind or 3 years behind. And it then becomes a bit of a case of, well, we need to get this done to avoid further penalties, further interest or whatever. Getting an accountant from day dot means that you understand your business just as much as they do. They understand the numbers. You get to run your business. Your accountant's in touch more often because they're probably doing, well, we're doing things monthly, weekly, quarterly, constantly for people. So we get to understand that business from the get-go as well, rather than it becoming a bit of a learning curve for us to understand what's gone on in the past.
Yeah, I think a good accountant would always want to understand your business model, would understand who your customer base is, how you're making money.
Future planning is a really important thing as well.
And from there,
future planning, growth, and all right, this is where
what are your life goals? Do you want to get to a stage where, okay, I've worked for 20 years working for somebody else, I'm setting my own business up, but I only want to work 3 days a week. I need to get to a stage where I'm working for myself and I can work those 3 days and take a bit more time, a bit more quality time. What it shouldn't be is where it becomes all encompassing and all overly consuming of your life. And a lot of people in self-employment, especially, you see that their life is their job. And if you're looking for an improved lifestyle, which a lot of people are that set a business up, setting those goals, getting somebody to help you and understand is a really good way of doing that, so that they can help you achieve your life goals.
I think from anyone who sets up their own business or is self-employed, it's a lonely place, like, because you have to do everything on your own. You know, when your IT breaks down, you have to fix it. When anything, customer service, sales, marketing, whatever, all these things. And you will fail if you don't find people to support you and you don't find people to talk to and you don't get those people in place. And that is one example. There are others of ways for getting mentors and advisors and people and they're obviously joining business networks and all that kind of stuff. But somebody to specifically talk about money with and planning and being ahead and knowing what to expect. I think that's the thing. I think when you start a business, you don't really know what to expect. You've got this idea, you've got this vision, you've got this product, this service that you want to deliver. Then you go on this massive learning curve and find out all these things. And I guess you're always doing that. You're always learning. But when it comes to finance and accounting and growing the business, there are rules and it is formulaic. It's like you get to this point, this happens, this point, this, and as accountants, you know what those milestones are and thresholds are and all those kind of things. So you can then start future planning and setting those targets and knowing what to expect, but rather than everything being a massive surprise all the time.
Supports decisions, not helps you make decisions. Or an accountant could then say, "Oh well, you're up to here now. You're going to go back registered, going back to VAT." Not going to talk about it much, but we've had a look. We've done an exercise. We think this is the best scheme for you. If you were on your own and you didn't have an accountant, it might be because you're not making a lot of money or whatever. You're not going to make that decision. You're probably not even going to register for VAT or register for any scheme that you might have to register for because you think, I'm doing all right. You might think you're doing all right, but then sometimes you get a letter through the door and you think, oh.
Or we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
And quite often that's really, unless you ask the question, is there anything better I can be doing? And you ask, and you get the right person to be helping you on that.
Yeah. So we're there to help, obviously, take that workload off the person that's running the business, but we're also there for support as well. Like we've many a times have said to clients, where do you see not just your business, yourself in 5 years' time? Oh, well, I want to buy a house, or I want to, right, okay, well, we know that you're going to have X amount of income for your mortgage. There's loads of different things that just come off the back of submitting one set of annual accounts or one tax return.
Some people are dead organised and they have like business plans, strategy plans, targets and all this kind of stuff. And that's great. Good for them. Other people aren't like that, but both of these types of people start businesses and do their own things. So the people who are really strategic, really organised, really logical, and maybe have experience of that strategic planning and project management and stuff, that was great, and that might be brilliant for their business. But they might lack other things that this other person has. So we're all a blend of different types of skills and whatnot. But if you're the kind of person, and that's like me, I'm describing me. I'm not the kind of person who sets out strategic targets, and I need people to help me do that, because I'll sit down in there and be like, what can I do now that's going to release some dopamine and stimulate me, and what's creative, and like I want to do this, and so that kind of stuff can get neglected if I'm not careful. But I'm aware of that, which is why I've got an accountant now, and we can. It'll be really good for when because I'm obviously inputting accounts down. Things are starting to. It'd be great when we're reviewing things, and then we're saying, right, the next target, and then I can go away and say, right, how do I meet that target? What's the next step, and how do we grow?
I think that's really important. You're working out, and we are helping you, hopefully, to get the most out of the relationship with your accountant. And this is where communication is really, really important. And I think this is something you're really keen on, Katie, is making sure that.
Well, it's like you said earlier, when you got you seen your phone and the call come through from me, oh, what does she want now? Well, eventually it's not going to be, oh, I'm scared of my accountant, what does she want now? What have I not done? It's going to be,
what was the real reason?
Oh, she's going to help me with something. Like,
what was the real reason you rang me?
Because you forgot the meeting.
Because I forgot a meeting.
I was sat on top of the mountain on Teams.
And it wasn't anything about. It was supposed to be about. It was about podcasts that we were supposed to be talking. And the phone rang and it said Katie. I was like, Katie. I didn't really think, what does she want now? But I was like, and then I went, oh, and then he answered the phone. She said, "You've forgotten about this meeting, haven't you?" Yeah, because I was in the middle of like doing a lot of editing and stuff. But again, like that's the thing. If I don't have an accountant, and I know it's unrelated, but if it is related to my accounts, the phone will ring and there will be a reminder.
And I think there was a stigma, or perhaps still is. I'm not sure how other businesses run, but there is a stigma of accountants are only looking at in the past. What happened last year? What happened 3 months ago? We're not. Yes, we might have to report about what's happened in the last 3 months or in the last 12 months by whatever deadline. But we, as a firm, will look at, they've done really well this year. Like, what can we do? Can we do a bit of tax planning for them? Let's give them a ring. Let's bring them in. Let's just have a chat with them. Where do they want to be in 5 years? Or there's loads of stuff that we do look into and help with, not just about, thanks for sending us your things. Here's your tax return.
Yeah. The thing about relationships, though, is really important because no one wants to be chopping and changing crucial roles like accountants and things like that. But you will if you have to for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But your business model is very much on a customer retention, isn't it? It's like once you've got a customer, you want to keep a customer and you want to keep them for the longevity of their business, don't you? And it works both ways. Like, and as long as that, the more that relationship develops, the more likelihood is that it just becomes integrated, and that it's win-win then, isn't it? Because they know your business inside out, you know them inside out. You've got a relationship. It works for you. Customer retention, whatever business you've got, is crucial. Like, once you've got a customer, you need to keep them because it's much cheaper to keep a customer than it is to find a new one. So, like, it works both ways. So the more you both invest in that relationship and you actually take, as an accountant, you actually care about that person's business and want to help it grow, means that they're going to want to stick with you as an accountant. And the relationship is brilliant. I also
think that there's nothing nicer, is there, than seeing these small businesses at first come to us, and then you've watched it grow, and you see how successful these businesses have been, and you thought, wow, like when they first come to us, there was this big. There was a little fish and a big, but now they're doing really well.
It's interesting. I yesterday actually we do monthly management accounts for a business, and it's a reasonable sized business. They've got 80 employees. So it's a reasonably big beast that's operating now. They've grown from nothing. They started out with us with 2 employees, I think, about 7 or 8 years ago. So it's been really nice to see that progression, to work with them. And they, so I do monthly management accounts. I think we reported March's figures to them yesterday. So that was by the 23rd of the month, which I think was pretty good going. They had the best ever month. They had the best ever quarter. So they're buoyed by that. They can take that into it. You were talking about getting the things that stimulate you. Well, those are going to stimulate a business owner. Yeah. So that having those numbers. Conversely, it can be the same benefit if the numbers are bad. Because the sooner you get to know those numbers, the earlier you can do something about them or try and do something about them. Yeah. So if you're waiting 12 months to get your accounts off your accountant or to see how much profit you've made, those numbers are dead. They're not of any use because so much has happened. Yeah. So
the decisions could have been made earlier had you looked. Yeah. Like you're looking monthly, quarterly.
Because it's a mindset that you have to get into. I mean, like I'm in my mind now, I'm like getting to the end of the month. I need to make sure that all my invoices are in. Yes. For April, it's just like I'm going to do that, and I know it's not a big deal. I know it's not a big job. Yeah, I'll do it.
And
I know what I'm doing.
If you get into a routine, that's another thing. Like just having a routine and getting into that routine. Like once you're in it, it becomes second nature, doesn't it? To right on a Monday afternoon, I'm just going to spend an hour. Yeah. Upload, and then you can drop me an email. Everything's in. Can we have a look? Can we have a call?
Yeah, and I think the advent of cloud accounting has meant that collaboration between accountant and client has improved massively. Yeah. That we're both looking at the same numbers instead of having to send a data disk or an email with data across or whatever it might be, and then install it there. Where you're both looking at the same numbers, you can have the conversation over the phone. You can maintain your books sat on a park bench if you want to. You can take your laptop out to a park and sit in the sunshine and do a bit. And that finding different ways of maintaining your books and records and keep the bits that going to keep your business ticking over and running, getting those invoices in by the end of April. If you were sat in the sunshine doing it, you'd be over the moon, wouldn't you? It'd be lovely.
Eddie, if you're talking about relationships, play some sexy music now, because the relationship that you have, a business has with its accountant, it is the most intimate. You get the most intimate knowledge, like the most intimate knowledge a business has, the most secretive, It's the money. It's the finance. Like, it's not what you no business goes shouting from the rooftops like what its turnover is, what it lost, what it spends on. It's delicate information, right? So like when Latix, they don't publish their full accounts, do they? We see an overview. He said this is intimate information for a business, and it's the only people that you share it with is your accountant, and so your accountant knows the most intimate details of your business, and it's a level of transparency that you don't really have with anybody else. Maybe you have it with your board of directors if you've got a board of directors, but understanding that they're seeing into your business, like right into the soul of your business, and understanding if it's doing well, if it's not doing well. It's a unique partnership and it's a unique relationship in that respect, and you've got to have the understanding and the trust, and to have that kind of like intimate. I don't, you know what I mean by intimate, but like kind of like your business is not doing well. This is what you need to do, or you're going to end up paying this, or having really, really like serious conversations, but in a way that you don't want it to be like you're being told off by your accountant, because at the end of the day, it's not you who's on the sharp end of it, is it? So it's being able to have that relationship where you can be having difficult conversations about the health of your business, the financial health of your business, and the planning and things you need to do in a really constructive, helpful way, and hopefully in a way that is warding off those things happening at all, like planning and
either way decisions can be made. Like you've just mentioned, you could be flying, doing really well. We're there to help with decisions. You could be doing not so good. We're there to support you and help make decisions. Like there's always decisions to be made, and it's always better doing it in real time, like you said before, like than looking back at what happened 12 months ago is not irrelevant to the HMRC. They want the tax if there's tax to pay, but it becomes irrelevant to the business owner or
it's too late to do anything about it.
It's too late. And you've probably
continue to carry on doing what they're doing for the
another
the next
9 months.
And they've got a huge decision to make, or sometimes a huge decision. Sometimes it might only be a minor little tweak but they could have done it 9 months before. Or earlier. They could have done it in month 1 of the year when they've looked at the figures and thought, oh, what's gone on here? What can we do to change it?
So like on that point of like, your sort of, from your point of view then, like as accountants and being that, in the intimate details of other people's businesses and stuff like that. Do you think that I know that you're very much a relationship focused kind of practice and that's what you want to do. I guess there's always been practices that are really good with that as a sensitive, and then are there practices that are more insensitive? And what's your experience of different types of practices with that stuff?
I think that there probably are. I think we probably were.
Right.
And then you look at yourself and you realise that, and I think that a lot of it came from the ability to interact more closely with clients with cloud accounting software. That whole migration from desktop software where the data was all at a client's somewhere else, and instead of it being on your desk and their desk and you sharing that and having that conversation, that is the catalyst for the conversation. And so there might still be firms of accountants, and there probably are, that are working the way we used to work. I don't think that's the right way of working. I think that working closely with and having conversations and picking up the phone and having chats with your clients is the way to work. And so, yes, I think in answer to your question, there probably are accountants that will work in a different way.
I think as well, though, it's like you mentioned it about people giving you stuff at the last minute. And like any relationship, like you can test each other, can't you? And if someone's going to come to you at the last minute with a box full of stuff and go, I need this sorting now, you're going to be like, it's not the way that you would want a relationship. Because you're not giving each other the time and space to do things in the right way, are you?
No, and I think there's an element in it's inconsiderate.
Yeah.
You've got a life to lead. So have we. People have got families at home. They've got whatever they've got to have their time to be able to go home. If they're then working at 8 o'clock at night because you've given them their stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll hold my hand up. I have probably sacked a couple of clients that have done that over the years because it's not the way I want to work and it's not the way I don't think our the people I work with
Yeah.
want to work.
But I think overall, just going back to how we used to work and where we're at now, a lot of those clients that we've still got now, we used to only get a box of books, and like there's been a huge learning curve, not just for us, for our clients as well, where we've had to be there to support them and train them on how to use different softwares, rather than bringing a box of stuff into you on the last hour of the last day, the day before your tax return's due. And they probably do tend to forget that we've got hundreds of clients to do with. We're not just dealing with them. So that was quite a big problem a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
But it's going to cause tension, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is going to cause tension. It's not conducive to a healthy relationship when you're not being considerate of these things, and you've had all this time as a running your business to organise yourself and do this, and you haven't, and then you're expecting your accountant to just make it happen overnight. It's always going to cause stress and tension in it, I guess.
Yeah,
well, for both parties,
so it's not
the
good.
accountant doing it, but then also for their client, who's probably then ringing you 3 hours later. Have you done it? What tax have I got to pay?
That's right. Yeah.
So we're now entering like a golden age, aren't we? Because like for centuries, probably accounting was done in a certain way, wasn't it? Ledger books and like paper and pen and paper and done a certain way. And then you've got, maybe the invention of the calculator might have made a big difference, and then, and word processing and stuff like that. But now we're moving into this completely sort of, obviously we talk about AI a lot on this podcast, or you talk about AI, and you've got AI and cloud software, and it's just a different level. But it should, in theory, make everything a damn sight easier for both the business and the accountant, providing still that you do things in a timely manner. That's the ultimate lesson in it. That's the takeaway.
I think that taking the human interaction out of things, in this case, is probably a good thing. It's the mundane. It's removing the boring tasks, so that raising of your invoice, or that sending your invoice to your accountant, or whatever it might be, becomes easier. And using AI to do that becomes easier. So the process becomes more efficient. So it gets to us earlier. Our element of the work can use elements of AI. So that again becomes more efficient. So the end result is that we've got a set of numbers that makes sense sooner than we had previously. And at that point, you can then have the conversation about those numbers. That's when you're going to make the difference to a business.
Yeah. What do you want to do with those numbers then, innit? Like,
what decisions can be made.
Do I want to, when am I ready to, like, obviously I've got this studio, like, I want to move to somewhere bigger. How do I do that? When do I do that?
Yeah.
How am I going to afford to do that? What can I borrow money based off what? All these questions, and these are the things that I'm really excited about. Actually excited, but I want to just sit down with those numbers, those end numbers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To sit down and have that conversation with you. I just want to input what I need to input. Let you do all the this is that and that. This is where we're at. This is what we're expecting for the next 12 months, next 3 years, and start making a plan from that. And that's.
I think it's always good for
that.
Businesses to have a plan as well, not just about a plan off. If the numbers look like this, then we can do this. Actually have a good structure in place, and to be able to make decisions, not just based on the numbers, but, we've had a really good year, let's just go on holiday and do this. Actually sit down with your accountant and speak to them. Let them know where you want to be. Like you've just said, I want a bigger building. I want to move. I want to do this. Don't wait until the week before you've got an appointment with the estate agent to move. So it's not a chore then for somebody to, like Matthew said, you don't want to be working till 8 o'clock at night. But you do it because you've got clients to support.
To support, yeah.
But presumably with all this making tax digital stuff and everything else, and the report, the quarterly reports and all that kind of stuff that people have to do, people are going to start getting into better habits, and it's going to make your life
which is going to be one of the benefits of MTD.
But it's the benefit to benefit to us as well as business owners, and because going into things with your eyes open is a lot better than. I'm quite a spontaneous person, so I'm quite happy to sort of like just do things and go with the flow and feel it. But when it comes to money and financial planning, it don't work. You need to know where you're at with your money. You need to know what your options are. You need to know if you're going to run out. You need to know what's working, what's not working. You need to know how much tax you're going to have to pay. Not knowing all this stuff is avoidable. That's the thing, innit? It is avoidable. But I'm lucky because I'm making a podcast with my accountants, so I'm learning a lot. But there is information out there. But the best
said no one else ever.
I know, yeah, that's true. But the information, it's all specific to you, isn't it? It's not one size fits all when it comes to the rules of accounting are there for everyone to see, but which rules apply to you and when varied depending on who you are and what your business is.
And everyone's personal circumstances differ as well. You might have five businesses that do the same thing.
Yeah.
But away from the business, each person that owns that business has different circumstances and might need more things from us every now and then. Everyone's life is different.
Yeah. So going into your accountant, when you have a meeting, like if you are setting up a meeting with an accountant, I think from my point of view, what I'd say is go in and sit down and say, right, this is my plan.
Yeah.
This is what I want to achieve personally, and I want the business to do this so that I can afford to do this, and lay it all out there and give them as much information as you can.
Yeah.
Again, it's about sharing those intimate details with your accountant and say, right, how do we make this work?
Accepting the support as well we're not just there to tell you you've got tax to pay or we've done this, can you sign it? We need to file it. We're actually there to support them as well.
And help that business grow, watch it grow.
I think there's one thing that's really important to mention in all of this, accountancy, intimate loving, is that accountants are running a business as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So accountants charge fees.
Yeah.
Accountants, some people call it an investment in your business. I feel that's a bit of a salesy term, if I'm being honest, but accountants do charge fees. You're going to get what you pay for. So you may, if you want an all singing, all dancing, full and nose to tail service, you're going to pay for it. I got somebody approached me a few weeks ago, and he's an accountant who's now retired, but he'd been approached by somebody, and they were having their limited company accounts were done for £250 a year, but they were unhappy with the service they were receiving from the accountant. And so it was, well, you can't have one without the other. You're not going to pay rock bottom prices and get the level of service that Katie's delivering to clients. So there's also an understanding that accountants run a business.
But £250 a year isn't an investment because you're not going to get a return on that. You think about an investment is something that you expect to get a return on. Now, not all investments come off. Some you lose on some investments. Well, by putting 250 quid to your account, you're losing on your investment. Yeah. So it's an investment. If you want to get something in return on your investment, it needs to be, put in the right place. So putting your money in, the right amount of money in with the right account it will be an investment then if you do everything that you're supposed to do. And you've got a good relationship, but like you've got to look after your investments, haven't you? You can't, it's a good analogy really, because it's only an investment if you make it work for you.
Yeah.
And if you don't, it's not. It's just, and I think that's what stops people from getting an accountants early is thinking, is this money that I can? We've spoken about this before. Is this money that I can afford to throw at something that's not giving me an immediate return? Well, some things are a slow burn, but they will pay off in the end. I think that's where it comes down to having an accountant, I think. So here I am, the accountant fan club.
Who'd have thought
I know, yeah.
Yeah, so I think, just to summarise, I think communication is all important and as early as possible.
And accept the support as well. If your accountant rings you, it's not always going to be doom and gloom. They might just be ringing you to see how you are.
You've forgotten your appointment.
To tell you that you've forgotten to turn up for a meeting.
Yeah. all the latter.
Yeah.
But I did park up at Dovestones for the meeting, so I did have a nice scene.
A nice view, yeah.
So, but I was the only one who was actually doing any work.
No, I finished a meeting with a client and I didn't.
At Dovestones?
I had like 6 minutes until the meeting, so I thought, oh, well, I haven't got time to go back to the office because the meeting's going to start. So I sat in my car at Dovestones.
Lovely.
You didn't answer.
I was still the only one doing any work anyway, regardless.
Well, you weren't.
No, well, I was, but no, but not work for you, unfortunately.
Not the way it should have been doing.
Yeah. But that's it. But also, if that's the case, just be honest.
Yeah.
You said, you've forgotten about us, haven't you? I said, yes.
She won't show you the team's messages.
It was easier than coming up with an excuse. Yeah. But that's the thing. When you have a good relationship with people, you can be honest, can't you?
Yeah.
That's the thing. So,
sometimes too honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So get an accountant. Stop messing about. James Scott are pretty good.
I love my accountant. 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 I love my accountant.
The Ledger Lounge is brought to you by James Scott Accounting and is hosted by Matthew Taylor, Katie Allen and Lauren Thompson. For more information, visit jamesscott.com. This podcast is recorded at and produced by KUPOD Productions, audio by Matt Dean and video by Eddie Corteen. For more info, visit kupod.co.uk.